In 2003, Major Robert Elliott volunteered to deploy to Iraq. He was 39 years old, married, and the father of three. But today, we're hearing from the person who carried the weight of that decision every day he was gone, his wife, Michelle. This is her story. Okay, Michelle, thanks for coming on. And what was your first reaction when Robert told you he was considering to volunteer?
Well, at first I was like shocked, and then I was like super proud
Mm-hmm.
because I knew when he joined the National Guard that it was true to his heart
Mm-hmm.
because it was part of his family,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew how important it was,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew after 9/11 that he was just watching that.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh. So so then you kind of had to think about that, a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us about the meeting and the vote.
Yeah. Yeah, so when we talked about it, and then I guess I should have known, just because I know Bob that well, about how he'd run that meeting, but I just kind of thought we're just going to have family talk.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was we had a whiteboard.
Oh,
So
really?
you got to have the visual of the whiteboard up, and we have the T chart of the votes, and
Mm-hmm.
so it was like a meeting you would have at work, and so he brought the meeting up, we talked about it with the kids, and then we did the yes no vote on the T chart on the dry erase board,
Okay.
and in the dining room, and he just asked each of us for the vote and wrote their names on the dry erase board, and there it
Okay.
was in front of us,
Yeah.
like it was a meeting.
Was there any lobbying or anything like that?
No, I think that, each of the kids were kind of looking at each other what they should vote, and he just said, he just wanted their vote,
Mm-hmm.
and then they said their vote, and it was 3-2,
Yeah.
and I can tell you who voted for what, and um, you know,
Well, if you
um,
want to do that, yeah.
yes, and we had to think about it from the book because I did know that I did support him. It was
Mm-hmm.
hard, I really didn't want him to go,
Yeah.
and our youngest son was the one that voted, so that gave us the three. He voted for
Okay.
himself to go,
Yeah.
and then the two older kids did not want our life to change,
Yeah.
and so that was the two no votes.
I had a feeling one of the boys.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Something in the book kind of made me think it was one of them.
yeah.
Uh,
And our youngest was a people pleaser, and he wanted to please his dad,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's why.
What were the arguments about going versus not going? What was the discussion?
I think the kids didn't know how their life was going to change,
Mm-hmm.
for them, and what that meant, and just the unknowns, that kind of thing, and for me, I didn't know the unknowns of
Mm-hmm.
and how that's going to change. And a lot of people don't talk about the health insurance and the financial piece of that. And then, can I be a single parent? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm working all day long as a school social worker
Mm-hmm.
and working with everybody's problems, and then coming home and being a single parent. And
Mm-hmm.
can you manage that? And then you have to reflect to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I said to myself, well, I remember when we were dating, and he said, the reason that I like you is because you're so independent
Mm-hmm.
and you can handle things. And then I had to remember, like, I guess I can handle this. I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had to keep saying to myself, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it's hard. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard being a single parent.
Oh yeah, yeah,
No one's tapping you out saying, yeah, you're just
yeah,
kind of not doing that well.
yeah. And as a reminder, the kids were 12, 14, and 16.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. And I ran them to sports. Got
yeah.
home, ran them to sports.
Mm-hmm.
Got home, and so I worked in an opposite school district than they were in. It was easier that way, because I worked with the challenging behavioral kids. It was best to not work in the same school as them.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I came home and picked up one, took them to a sporting practice, brought them home, and it was just a run all night
Mm-hmm.
long. And then went to bed and start over the next day.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably good you had a background as a social worker.
Yes, yes.
That's probably a blessing.
Yes, yes, yes. But you can't
Yep.
counsel your own kids.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I know.
Yes.
Yeah. So, so, what were the emotions like during the meeting? And I keep going back to the meeting because to me it's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to imagine myself being there
Uh-huh.
and being anywhere from 12, 14, or 16.
Uh-huh.
What would I have thought? How would I have reacted and things like that.
Yeah, and it was interesting because I think, the kids had emotions and you had to think about the emotions. And I think our oldest was mad that I sided with our dad,
Hmm.
their dad to that, that I think he thought that I was a traitor, that I didn't side with the kids, how
Hmm.
they felt. And you know, I think now that he's married, he understands that you're going to
Hmm.
side with your partner.
Hmm.
And so I think he was mad at me initially
Hmm.
for that, and not mad at his dad, mad at me. And I thought that was an interesting thing. And I think our daughter was just like, whatever, kind of thing. As she was a teenage daughter,
Hmm.
that's just, we'll see how that happens. And then our people pleaser son will be like, it is okay, mommy, we'll figure it out, kind
Yeah.
of thing. So
Hmm.
and so and nothing happened that day. It was
Hmm.
just a discussion,
Hmm.
and it was just a thought. And then the next day was just normal. It
Hmm.
was just a thought. And as things got, and then he got, part of that packet got approved, but still everything was the same.
Hmm.
And he might be gone for a couple of days. And then, July happened and he's gone.
Hmm.
And then it's like, this is reality,
Yeah.
you know, and it's setting place and setting new routines of how this is going to work.
Yes. Which of the sons was the Army Ranger? Is that the
That would be the youngest son.
Okay? Yeah.
Yes.
The
So
yes vote. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
definitely, saw the value in that,
Hmm.
and understood that. And it was very young, I think in high school, that he definitely set his sights on
Hmm.
going to West Point at that
Yeah.
point, which we never had anybody that went to West Point
Hmm.
or even discussed it. And he definitely
Said yeah.
set his sights on that.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's impressive. What was it like when you were taking Bob to the airport?
So it was hard because you're just, going, okay, I don't know when I'll see him or
Hmm.
touch him. That's hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't I don't know what's next. And I don't know if I can be a single parent, and
Looks like you did well because your
um,
kids are all
there's
very
ups and
well.
downs. But I know one of the last things he said to me, he handed me, he said, "Here's what I want for my funeral arrangements," and I was like, really, this is what you're giving me? And then, I'll see you later. And I was like, we could have done this another time. But I don't know when that time would have been. It's just an awkward thing. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had them. And then I'm like, I'm just going to put him in the glove box and pretend like he never gave it to me,
Hmm.
and just put it away. Anyway, the drive home was awkward. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you
Oh,
do?
that's
And
probably tougher, wasn't it?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's like you're driving home, and then I just thought to myself, I'm just going to have to do this,
Yeah.
and and like he'd mentioned, there is, we didn't have a support network. People that are part of a military base, you
Hmm.
have a support system
Hmm.
built in. We did not have that. And so the community, just wasn't really sure how to support us.
Hmm.
You're on your own. And not that people weren't kind to us, I don't mean it that way, but um, you're just different, in that
Yes.
way. And we had some people that did some amazing things for us. I had a friend that said, "Hey, come over to my family's farm and bring the kids, and there's a hot tub for you, and we'll take the kids and see farm animals." And I was just like, yay, that's so nice. What a
Hmm.
relief. And then we had family that said, we're going to come over and help you rake the leaves and do yard work. And I'm like,
Hmm.
yay, thank you.
Hmm.
So those were just reliefs. Like, you
Hmm.
just needed a little extra boost.
Yeah.
And so those were just helpful things.
Yeah.
And I was so grateful for that.
Did other people pitch in and help you take your kids to wrestling and to school? And were you anything like that?
Um, no, but I don't know that I asked him. I think I
Hmm.
just did
Yeah.
it. And um, I think I just thought it's my responsibility. I need to
Hmm.
do it.
Yeah.
I did it,
Yeah.
and felt that it was my responsibility to take care of them. And I had to come up with a system.
Hmm.
And to be organized.
Mhm.
And so what I did is I made all of the food for the week on Sunday,
Mhm.
froze it all,
Mhm.
and got it out in the morning
Mhm.
for that day. And so whoever is home at 4 o'clock, that was dinner for you
Mhm.
at 4 o'clock versus eating chips or whatever else you
Mhm.
wanted. That was your dinner because I'm just running kids all night long.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it had to be systematic.
Yeah. You mentioned there weren't military families around. What were your outlets? I know you didn't have much time, but what did you have any other outlets that you
So
yeah.
we did go to church on
Mhm.
Sunday, and the kids were involved in youth group, and so
Mhm.
that was helpful to them.
Mhm.
And so they would go to Wednesday night youth group, and then we would go to Sunday church,
Mhm.
and so that was helpful. Um, and so those are things that we used as outlets, those kind of
Mhm.
things. So, but
Yeah.
I just think we just had to function in our household, and
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't have much time to do anything
there
else.
wasn't much time,
Yeah.
and what time we had, we just used our time together.
Mhm.
If Friday night we didn't have a game or a sporting event to go to, we just you know we had a funny we did funny things, and one of the things is we had family picnic on the living room floor, and I got a blanket, and we got KFC,
Hmm.
and we called it family picnic, and we ate
Mhm.
KFC and
Yeah.
living room floor,
Yeah.
and we just made things fun like that.
Yeah. 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 It's a good thing you were independent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and strong. What about your faith during that time? He's over there and in a danger zone, and
Hmm.
you're here and doing all the kids and all the responsibilities you had. How did that affect you and your faith?
Well, I mean, I was glad that we were already involved with church,
Mhm.
because if I didn't, I don't know that I would have stepped into it. I
Mhm.
think it was positive, and I think it was good for the kids that they were already there, so they had that outlet,
Mhm.
and something they could lean into.
Mhm.
And So I thought it was a positive for all of us to
Yeah.
have that already set up for us.
Yeah. How did you get the news back and forth? I'm sure you were probably on pins and needles about stuff. Did you constantly watch news podcast, or what did you do?
So I didn't watch the news at
Mm.
all. One, it just wasn't helpful to me,
Yeah.
and I just didn't.
Mhm.
Um, I did have people that decided they thought they should tell me the news.
Mhm.
They'd come up to a sporting practice and say, "Did you see the news?"
Mhm.
And I just thought it was a wall that I put up, that it wasn't something I would be helpful to me, because the news is going to sensationalize
Yeah.
something, and and when he would call, I wouldn't ask him about the news. I would
Yeah.
just ask him about him
Him. Yeah.
personally, and how he was holding up. But I just wouldn't ask him about it.
Yeah.
It just wasn't helpful,
Mhm.
and it's just more about, he wanted to know how the kids were doing and what they were up to, and I
Mhm.
wanted to know how he was doing.
Yeah.
And it just was a block.
Yeah. I think that's a good strategy. I never thought of that, but you're right. The news does sensationalize a lot of stuff,
Hmm.
and I don't watch it now because
Hmm.
it makes me
Yes.
mad.
Yes.
I'll watch a subject on YouTube that I might be interested in.
Uh huh.
Um, but yeah,
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
trust it. I don't. You know,
And it's negative.
it is negative. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And it's hard to stay positive.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my wife likes to watch it before she goes to bed, and that just no wonder you can't sleep.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so how do you think your life changed during that time, as far as looking back afterwards? How did that affect you going forward?
So I definitely became more independent, and I think the kids became more independent, and we learned how to work um, as a system.
Mhm.
So, so for example, we all had to do chores together, and we
Mhm.
decided how to do chores together. We'd make a list. So one, if somebody would have to unload the dishwasher before somebody would have to load it, so
Mm.
it would be systematically.
Yeah.
Everything had to work together, and so there'd be communications with
Yeah.
that. And so we just learned to communicate and work very systematically
Mhm.
on that. And I, um, I think we just became more enmeshed as a
Mm.
family, and we leaned on each other more.
Yeah.
And I think it was a bonding experience, but I will also say that as a person, I learned also that single parenting is hard. And
Mm-hmm.
I learned that, as a social worker, I just didn't have that much understanding of how hard it was for the parents that I worked with,
Mm-hmm.
that they've always been a single parent. Some parents have always been a single parent. And I'm like, whew, that's hard,
Yeah.
and I hadn't ever been a single parent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't like this. I hope that he comes home. I don't want to do this, and but I do think we just bonded as a family and
Mm-hmm.
leaned on our core family leaned on each other.
Yeah. I admire single family, whether it's a man or the woman that's head of the
Hmm.
household, because it's tough.
Hmm.
And I've seen people and families, and it's tough on them.
Yeah.
You need two parents.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just get tired.
Yeah. 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 Now tell us about your children now.
So they're great people. They're just good, kind people, and they're great to their spouses,
Mm-hmm.
and they're good parents, and that's anybody wants.
Mm-hmm.
And they they value people, and they value kindness, and they really look to their dad, and they're really proud of him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part that I wanted them to be proud of him and not
Mm-hmm.
resent him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes I'm like, whoa, what was I just chop liver for the year? Like they like dad, and I'm
Yeah.
like, so they're very proud of him, and
Yeah.
and what of his service, and
Yeah.
don't resent him being gone.
Yeah. Yeah. The people that voted no, that they got over the resentment pretty quick, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
They're kids.
They are kids. Yeah.
Mhm.
They are kids. So tell us about the flowers. There's something in the book
Yeah. Yes.
about the flowers.
Yes. So he just wanted to make sure that I, had something, that just said, "Hey, I think about you as a wife,"
Mhm.
and so he sold one of his guns to then go to the flower shop and paid for flowers to be delivered
Yeah.
every month for me.
Yeah.
And it um, it was just very meaningful that
Hmm.
he thought of me every month,
Yeah.
and they um, because when you're a single parent, you're not a wife anymore,
Yeah.
right? You're
Yeah.
just like, okay, I've got to
Hmm.
get this done, I got to get that done.
Hmm.
And then when they came, you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He went out of his way to think about me.
Yeah. I thought that was nice. I
Yeah.
thought that was real good.
Yes. And then
Yeah.
I was like, he didn't have to sell his gun though. Like I felt kind of bad about that.
Maybe you can buy it back or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, what scared you the most, do you think, when he was over there and you were here?
Um, what scared me the most, I guess the part that, you know, the death scared me,
Hmm.
but then also, would he come back damaged in
Yeah.
some way, whether missing body parts or,
Hmm.
mentally how he would be different.
Hmm.
And and then how do you go forward from that?
Hmm.
And how do you balance that in a family?
Yeah.
And then how do you balance that within the community of people saying you shouldn't have went, you shouldn't, so
Yeah.
then how do you handle all of that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good answer. I wasn't sure because I was thinking about it. Would I? Would it be better to be dead, or I've known some people that went over there and came back very bad off.
Hmm.
Not just mentally, but without arms and legs.
Right.
One guy was burned
Hmm.
most of his body,
Right.
and um, it's
Right.
and I think I wonder if she would think that would be worse than the death,
Right. Right.
because you know,
Right.
uh, yeah, yeah. So, is there anything else you would like to talk about?
There's a couple of things I'd like to talk
Yeah.
about. One is when we go on these book tours, the impact that Bob has to military veterans, and seeing that they light up to
Hmm.
talk about their experiences
Mhm.
together, and the healing that you see between
Mhm.
them, the connection and the healing is so amazing.
Mhm.
And the help that has been provided, for a family member that said, he hasn't talked about this, he or she hasn't talked about this, and he comes up to you and they're talking jargon,
Mhm.
and the family member steps back and seeing that.
Mhm.
And that's what's important, right?
Yeah.
That they feel okay to talk to another veteran about
Mhm.
that. And that we've had people come up to us and say, my family member's in jail because of PTSD, and they got on drugs,
Mm.
and I'm lost on how to help them, and he'll
Mhm.
direct them how to get
Yeah.
help for them. And that, he'll direct somebody how to, we really promote the 988, which is a suicide hotline that you can text or call. And so, our mission is to make sure people know that there's help out
Mhm.
there, and just to talk to people, and, and to be kind to people.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether they're in the military, or, they're just having a rough day, or
Mhm.
their dog died. Just be kind to people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the most important thing.
The 988 is very important.
Right.
And can you talk about the suicides in the military now? How many per day?
It's 22 a day, and I think that number's going up.
Yeah.
And they the PTSD is significant,
Mhm.
and I think, what I've heard Bob say is, when they process them out, they're like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay. I want to go home."
Yeah.
Right? And so that whole follow up of, like, follow up later, I think
Mhm.
is not as efficient
Mhm.
as it should be.
Yeah.
Maybe a call back later, kind of thing, or,
Mhm.
maybe a therapist calling or something.
Mhm.
And I think the VA is getting better about that. And But in Sequatchie County, there was a death 2 years ago of a young guy. I want to say in his mid 20s,
Mhm.
suicide, um, and um, and he was in the military, and so it can happen, and that it just breaks your heart,
Yeah. It does. And you're right about the follow up. You know, there should be a good formal program to do that
Hmm.
because, from what the people see and their friends dying and
Right.
it's and plus the stress they're under and the danger,
Hmm.
and then they might have killed people.
Right.
Um,
Now, I
it,
do,
it
when we go to the Legion or the VFW, you'll see the guys and gals. They'll talk, and,
hmm
they'll have coffees. Those things are very helpful,
yes, yeah,
and so they'll have a connection there.
hmm
So there is things that people feel comfortable
hmm
chit chatting versus seeing a therapist, and I think the VA has improved,
yeah,
but
yeah.
there's always growth in areas.
There is, yeah, yeah. Well, that's where we met. You all was at the book fair.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And my
and we
wife,
always promote the 988. We
yeah,
just really push that, and he does push it in his book, but we try to have, magnets, that kind of thing. It's,
hmm
it's close to my heart on this.
hmm yeah. It is, it is. So, anything else?
No,
You
no.
look like.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate you doing this. So thank you so
Well,
much.
it's good. It's I think it's important, and I just want to capture the history of people firsthand or secondhand if
Mhm.
if the first hand's not available.
Uh-huh.
So I appreciate what you all are doing. The book tours, the book is excellent. I really like it,
Uh-huh.
and it's not just a war book. It's more about relationships and the family life and the decision to go.
Mhm.
So
There's not enough of those shared stories, I don't think. So
no,
we're
no.
happy to share. We'll be at a event tomorrow morning, local ladies club
Oh,
here,
Yes.
really?
Yes.
not far from
Okay.
here. So
Yep.
we're looking forward to
Yeah.
doing some more sharing.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
All right.
good.
Thank you
Well,
so
thanks a
much.
lot.
Thank you.